Welcome in and welcome back. I thought I would. So I'm doing 30 videos in 30 days here on this channel, as well as 30 videos in 30 days on Strip Cover Lit. So I thought I might as well start this 30 videos in 30 days with something divisive. I think that it is strange in today's world to have to start off a video like this by saying some type of disclaimer because of something that I don't define myself as. I do not define myself as a Democrat. And I know that this will lose me subscribers. It's a weird world to have to say that. I know that this will lose me probably friends. It's a strange world to have to say that. Those are two yeses. Yes, I knows. No, I do not own a MAGA hat. No, I do not define myself as a Republican. I think that it is such a strange and dichotomized world. There's a schism right in the middle of everything, yes or no on the MAGA question, and that is not something by which I define myself. And it is strange that putting something like this on the internet where you say simply, I'm not a Democrat, is something that is, look, I'm liable because of this to be attacked, again, on the internet, just for something so simple as this. But it is, I think, in the same breath necessary to say that I did, for most of my life, consider myself a Democrat. I considered myself of the blue party. And why? Right? Why would I consider myself that way? I got my politics the way many people get their religion. I got my politics more or less with my mother's breast milk. My mother was a Democrat. My mother was always a Democrat. And I even remember way back in 1991 when Bill Clinton was campaigning for the first time. Bill Clinton stopped in Kansas City, Missouri, and a young 6-year-old Adrian was stuck at home with the father figure while mom was off meeting Bill Clinton. And it had a profound effect on me. Look, my family, we didn't get out a whole lot. I'll just say it that way. As a family, we went to the movies once. We went one time to the movies. That's it. We didn't get out. We didn't do things. We didn't spend money on things. We didn't experience things. We didn't do any of that. In a possibly related point, my mother is not an excitable person. She just isn't. She's not the type to get excited, never has been. But that night, when she got home from that town hall, I guess it must have been, with Bill Clinton, she was elated. Absolutely elated. And of course, being young and impressionable, I wanted to know why. I wanted to know, what was this, who was this guy that was there? Why was this Jesus? What happened? Why were you so excited? And she talked to me about someone who she felt, for the people. And I believe it was in his first run for president where Bill Clinton uttered the famous, I feel your pain. Hey, I'm here for you. I feel your pain. Right? I think that was his first run, and I think that had already happened by the time that he had stopped by Kansas City. So my mother really knew him as someone who she thought was going to be for the people, as she probably would have considered herself, the downtrodden. So to have met him in person and had those suspicions reaffirmed, she was absolutely elated. So from that point on, of course, I considered myself a Democrat. Little 6-year-old me, a Democrat. And I associated the Democrats as the People's Party. I associated Democrats as those who would fight for working class, for lower class, for the downtrodden. And a lot of it was after Bill Clinton, we got George Bush the second. George Bush the second. Like Amenhotep the second. You know what I mean? It's like a dynasty. We get another Bush in the White House, and everything about that run for the Republicans was about elitism. Now, you had aw shucks George Bush in the White House that was less than imposing. But it was all about money. It was all about power. Not necessarily education. That was the thing that the Democrats seemed to be priding themselves on, was education, was intelligence. You know, Al Gore, you know, with all of his wacky theories and his we've got to save the future. You know, we're ending everything right now. We've got 4 years, which became 6, and then, you know, maybe 8, you know. So all of these things were deeply embedded in me. When I was a kid, my only real dream was going to college. I wanted to go to college. No one in my family had gone to college. And it was my dream, you know. So considering myself from more the working class type, everyone in my family worked at Ford. Everyone worked at the Ford plant in Kansas City. Everyone. It was a whole thing, whole shebang. Except for my mother who would work different jobs. But everyone. And so that's working class, you know, blue collar, had dreams of going to college. So the aspirations of what I considered Democrat were things that were deeply embedded in me. Things deeply embedded in me from childhood, from young childhood, early memory type childhood. And then I went to college. Not at 18. No. I did community college for a few years until I could afford to go off and get a degree, a bachelor's degree. And all of my professors, by God, they were true blue. By God, they were. And they were elitists. By God, they were. And they also taught meaningless shit in courses that I was being forced to pay tens of thousands of dollars to struggle through while heaping bullshit into my notebook taking notes. That was a little off-putting, a little upsetting. But whatever. You know, I still associated with the left side of things, despite the fact that it wasn't until I really went to college that I knew what far left really looked like, and how expensive it was. You know, I've been struggling a lot with a book that I read while I was attaining my bachelor's degree. It is Kurt Vonnegut's Man Without a Country. And while I would not claim that I feel I do not have a country, I do feel that way about political parties. And in this book, it's semi-autobiographical, semi-memoirish, but really it's just a whole lot of Kurt Vonnegut bitching about things, which Kurt Vonnegut was really good at and really entertaining while doing. And I was rereading some of this recently, and I realized how much of it today I sort of disagree with. But the general gist, that he was a man without a country, that he was floating between ideals, sort of. He was floating between ages, sort of. He was discovering himself as a Luddite. All of these different things paired with atrocities he felt that the United States was committing in other countries. And I have found myself being very anti-war in my life as well, in my opinions as well. Well, right after the Bush era, we didn't lose the warring nature of Americana. We just on kept it going. Which started another little, what's going on here? I thought the Democrats were not the war party. I thought the Democrats were not the elitists. And here I am. I went off to college in 08-09, figuring out that the Democrats really are the elitists. And now they're really fond of dropping bombs on everyone, too. Well, in this Man Without a Country, Kurt Vonnegut shares this story. Kurt Vonnegut, I don't know if you knew this, was in World War II. He was a prisoner of war of the Nazis. And he said, when I got back from the Second World War, my Uncle Dan clapped me on the back. And he said, "You're a man now." So I killed him. Not really, but I certainly felt like doing it. And I think that when I went off to college, it was a previous me as Uncle Dan and the new me as young Kurt. I thought, well, you've spent all this time and money, you've dedicated yourself, you're a man now. So I killed him. Not really, but I certainly felt like doing it. It was a long road to learn a short lesson that the politics don't matter as much as the people. Politics in general, I'm sort of black-pilled. A little bit. And after, when I moved back to Kansas City after getting my master's degree, spending tens of thousands more dollars for something twice as useless, I came back, and I've always, my whole life, speaking of politics, I've really been single issue. It's been the issue of healthcare. And along with dropping bombs on absolutely goddamn everybody from 08 to 16, Barack Obama started what was dubbed Obamacare. That was a real shit show. But it was a move. It was a step towards something. Certainly from where we were, it was a step worth attempting, I think. I still think. But it was a shit show. So, in 2016, still considering myself a Democrat, still being essentially single issue, I threw my support behind Bernie Sanders. I was, for better and worse, a Bernie bro. And I think anyone that has lasted 13, 14 minutes into this video understands what happened in 2016 to Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders, who I would imagine had an infinitely better chance against Donald Trump than did Hillary Clinton. Maybe that's just my opinion. The polls at the time seemed to agree with me. But that didn't go my way. Shortly thereafter, I started really looking into things. Why did this go so poorly? Why was Bernie Sanders tread upon? And it seems, really, a lot of the stuff that he says, when you get down to brass tacks, doesn't really make any goddamn sense. And I hate to have to admit that. I really do. It was something that I really supported Bernie. Basically for the single issue. And I still think healthcare needs reform. I really do. But these days I do not believe that is a leftist agenda. I do not. So yeah, I think that, look, I understand that I, as a straight white male, am no great loss to the Democratic Party. They have made that increasingly clear. But I am no longer of that affiliation. And I think that in today's climate, it is increasingly important, if nothing else, to speak. Just to speak. And that's what I'm doing here. That's what I'm doing with this video. I am a liberal, not a leftist. And I know that's the popular thing online to say. I consider myself liberal, but not Democrat. I consider myself liberal, but not leftist. I know that's sort of a popular thing to say, but it really, if you define yourself with liberal tendencies and liberal principles, and you take a step back from the political apparatus, and you really look at things, I think that you'll find that about yourself too. If you consider yourself a leftist, I think that if you really take a step back and look at things, you will consider yourself a liberal and not a leftist. Maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, I just thought that kicking off 30 videos, 60 videos really in 30 days, I may as well lose as many viewers as possible, as quick as possible. So this has been that video, and I hope to see you back tomorrow for another video, and the next day for another video, and the next day for another video, and then also over on Strip Cover Lit, where if you are somehow here without being there, Strip Cover Lit is where I do book reviews, I read read-alongs for books, poetry reviews, poetry discussions, short story reviews, anything literary I do over there. Over here I will be doing a lot of nonfiction stuff. I'll do some workout stuff. I'll do some discussion type stuff. I've got a series called Ask Adrian Anything. I plan on this month, one of the things I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to start doing meditations by Marcus Aurelius, or I don't know how I'm going to fill 30 days of content on this channel. But yeah, I hope to see you later on today on Strip Cover Lit, and also back here tomorrow.